Building up to game number 9 of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019, and it's a match between two teams that won their opening encounter. It is Bangladesh versus New Zealand. Whichever team wins this particular encounter will become the first team during this tournament to have won 2 matches out of the 2 that they've played so far. Joining me on the show, Shahryar Nafees, the former opening batsman from Bangladesh, and we asked Shahryar, and we'll dive straight into it. We asked him to pick his playing 11 for Bangladesh, and we'll have the playing 11 on our screen right now. As we're getting to know, he's made no changes to that 11 that will be taking on New Zealand in that game that will be played at the Oval. So the same team that won that encounter versus South Africa, putting up a record score, their highest ever in World Cup, is the team that Shahryar has gone with. Shahryar, looks like a good team. I know you never end up changing a winning combination. The only question that I could ask is that we're expecting some overcast conditions there in Oval. Were you tempted maybe to drop between Musaddak and Mendi, one of the 2 spinners, and get Rubil, a fast bowler, just based on the conditions? Were you tempted to do that?
No, still I want to see the same 11 playing.
Okay.
The reason behind it is if you look at the South African match, we scored 330. South Africa ended up losing by 22 runs. Every fast bowlers gave runs over 6 runs per over. Only Shakib Al Hasan, he was like 10 overs 50 runs, so there's 10 runs for you below 6, and Mehdi Miraj 10 over 44 runs, so 16 runs below 60 runs. So if you accumulate those runs, it's something around 26 runs, and we won by 22. So the spinners played a brilliant part in the last match, though they were like not picking up the wickets. All the wickets, most of the wickets were picked by Mustafiz. So I feel, though the overcast condition is there, but in the middle over, Shakib and Mehdi can like just hold the ball, not turn, but just not give any runs. So that will set up the game for Bangladesh.
All right, since you talk about the spinners, we'll talk about one man who will be making a record here. We're talking about Shakib Al Hasan. He'll be playing his 200th one day, and if you take a look at his record with the bat and with the ball, he's been outstanding. Now, this is how Shakib is done in ODIs, by batting position, and if you take a look at that, batting from number 3 to 4, if you send him up the order, you see that average, which is at 43. If he bats lower down, that average, of course, falls down, also because he gets plenty more deliveries to play. Even the strike rate there matching whether he's batting at 3 or 4 or 5, 6 and 7. So that's a given that Bangladesh, after the success that they had in the previous game, will continue having Shakib Al Hasan batting higher up the order. In fact, the other interesting stat there to look is his bowling performance versus New Zealand, and that's outstanding as well. He's got an average of 25. He's picked up 35 wickets out of the 21 games. So he's going to be very, very crucial for Bangladesh, as he has been throughout his career. My question to you, Shahryar, is, he's playing his 200th ODI. You're looking forward to this? It's a great day, I'm guessing, for Bangladesh cricket because he's been a long servant of Bangladesh cricket and has done outstandingly well throughout his career.
Yeah, Shakib Al Hasan has been outstanding talent for Bangladesh. The day he got his debut, he raised his hand up and said, I'm here, and I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna do well, and that's what he has done. He has done well in the World Cup, in the Champions Trophies, in T20 World Cup, IPL, domestic cricket, wherever he plays, he has done well. He has been the key member of Bangladesh, and he is the guy who has put up a brilliant show in every match which Bangladesh has won for last 10 years. It's very big occasion for Shakib Al Hasan because 200 one-day matches for Bangladesh is a great achievement, because we have just started 15 years back, and he has been an outstanding performer.
Okay, another comment, because we spoke about one legend, that is Shakib Al Hasan. The other legend that you have in your team is Tamim Iqbal. Do you think, we saw him a bit in that game against South Africa, wasn't really the free-flowing Tamim that we are used to. Is it because of that injury that he's coming out of, that he's taking some time to settle in?
Not really. Tamim Iqbal has been a very important member of Bangladesh cricket team, and now he is one of the senior members. Tamim Iqbal we have seen in 2007 World Cup. That was a very young Tamim, and he had a different role to play. Now one of the senior members, he has got a different role to play again. Now like Soumya Sarkar has become the aggressor. The Bangladesh team management and whole Bangladesh wants Tamim to bat long. We want him to see him batting for up to 40-45 overs, so that he can bat long, he can score, and he has got a very decent strike rate. So if he bats long, Bangladesh is going to score big. So I think Tamim has played the right way, and I want him to see I want to see him bat like that.
All right, interesting point there from Shahryar Nafiz. Thanks so much for your thoughts. As he's talking about Tamim Iqbal, it's not that he's not really in flow at the moment for his team. The other thing is his approach may have changed because it's a different role that he now performs for the Bangladesh team. Okay, that was Bangladesh. We'll now take a look at New Zealand. What would be the playing 11 for New Zealand? We usually ask our experts to pick their playing 11, but we haven't done that with Dan Vettori because New Zealand have already announced their playing 11 for that game versus Bangladesh on the eve of the match, because they didn't have to think too much after that stunning performance versus Sri Lanka. They are going unchanged in that game versus Bangladesh. Dan, the only question one could ask looking at that playing 11, could they have also considered someone like an Ish Sodhi, a spinner? I'm saying that because on the Oval we've seen 4 completed innings. Out of those 4, you've got 3 where plus 300 runs were scored. You could have got a spinner out of those 3 fast bowlers. 1 could have been rested, and then you have anyway the all-rounders in de Grandhomme and Jimmy Neesham to give you that option for the seam bowlers.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. I think at some stage throughout the tournament, New Zealand will look to push Satner in that all-rounder role and have Sodhi as an out-and-out attacking spinner. And I think the teams that do have those 2 spinners are a little bit more fortunate. So I think they'll assess the conditions. Well, they have assessed conditions and have seen the wicket, and they're comfortable with what the performance from the first game. And I suppose there was always going to be talk around Southey and Nichols, would they come back in? But Henry and Munro were 2 of the dominant performers in that first game. And most teams like to stick with that winning combination, and I think New Zealand's no different. So, look, I think the conditions will prevail at some stage, but I think when you get a dominant performance first up, it'd be difficult to change too much. And they'll expect similar from Munro in particular. I think we'll really enjoy these conditions, has some experience after playing in England for a number of seasons, so look for him to be effective. It'll be more difficult for Matt Henry as compared to Cardiff, but still I think, as I said before, New Zealand will want to stick to that winning combination.
All right, funny, I'm talking about leaving one of the fast bowlers out, especially after that performance versus Sri Lanka. We'll talk in particular about Matt Henry, and he was outstanding in that game, in that match that Sri Lanka were dismissed for 136. He's been very, very good for them. Lockie Ferguson, the other fast bowler who picked up wicket in that encounter. And this is the best strike rate for a pacer in ODIs, minimum of 50 wickets. And you've got, Corey Anderson on top, and then Mitchell Starc on top as well. But there you have it, Matt Henry in that list. You could see in the number 6 spot in the 42 innings that he's bowled, he's picked up 81 wickets. So that's balls per wicket column there is also rather impressive. Now, we saw, Dan, the New Zealand fast bowlers were dominant in that first game they played against Sri Lanka. But would you expect now this particular match would be more challenging on 2 counts? One, the conditions won't be as helpful as we saw in Cardiff. The other, we've seen Bangladesh batsmen, they were peppered with the short pitch bowling by the South Africans, but the likes of Soumya Sarkar really handled the quick bowling very, very well. So this would be a much tougher encounter for the New Zealand fast bowlers?
Yeah, I think there's 2 parts to it. I think Matt Henry would have dreamed about that surface at Cardiff to start a World Cup, particularly after he had a tough warm-up match outing against the West Indies. So he prevails in those conditions more often than not. And to be fair to him, in all one-day cricket, he's been incredibly successful from a strike rate perspective, as that table shows. So I think they'll still look to use them as an attacking weapon, but it is going to be tricky in that oval surface. Bangladesh are fortunate they've played a game there, and Bangladesh are actually a very confident side. They actually know their strengths, they know the way they want to play, and they know how teams are going to attack them, and I think that short ball has been a tactic for teams for a number of years, and they've adapted to it exceptionally well, particularly Shakib and Mushfiqur in those middle stages. But when you get support at the top of the order and below them with the likes of Mahmudullah, I think that makes them a daunting prospect. And I think their spinners will come into play on that oval wicket. So we've gone from New Zealand needing to win these 2 games to really start their tournament well, and they've done that in the first game, to this being an incredibly important game. And I think for New Zealand and Bangladesh, they'll see this as a stepping stone to the semi-finals, even though it's only their second match. I think they'll both look at it as this will dictate where our tournament goes in a lot of ways.
All right, we were talking about the New Zealand fast bowlers. We picked out 2 players to watch out for, and both the players from New Zealand that we've picked are batsmen in Martin Guptill and Ross Taylor. I'm going to talk about Ross Taylor in particular, Dan. Earlier in the program, we were talking about Shakib Al Hasan playing his 200th match for Bangladesh. Now, that's a record. Looking at Ross Taylor, he's going to become only the 4th Kiwi then to be playing the 400th match for New Zealand. Would you like to welcome him? Because the 2 other Kiwis there, Brendan McCullum and then yourself, would you like to welcome him in the 400 club?
I think he'll go a long way past the rest of us. He's been such a prolific performer for a long, long time now, and particularly in the last couple of years. His one-day record, his test record has been exceptional, and I think the main reason that New Zealand have so much confidence around their World Cup chances is because of the performances of Ross Taylor for a long, long time now. So, look, to enter in that 400 club is testament to longevity, but it's more often than not testament to skill and performance. And I think that's what we've seen from Ross for a long, long time, but in particular these last couple of years. So he hasn't had a bat yet in this tournament, so I think he'll be excited to have an opportunity, and there's no better spot to bat than at the Oval. So I know he's going to look forward to that, and I know he'll celebrate joining that club as well.
All right, Dan Vettori, we'll leave it at that. We look forward to seeing you when the action takes place between Bangladesh and New Zealand. We'll, of course, have Dan Vettori analyzing the game for us on ESPNcricinfo. But here's a reminder, we're building up to game number 9, and it's an important game because whichever team wins will become the first team this World Cup to have won 2 matches. You're watching ESPNcricinfo Match Day.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. Click on the bell icon for notifications.